I studied islet cells of the pancreas. There are only about 1 million islet cells in a healthy adult pancreas. There are 3 types of islet cells that secrete all different hormones. There are alpha, beta, and delta islet cells. Beta cells secrete insulin. Insulin controls the intake of glucose in cells, regulates the manufacturing of glycogen in a cell, regulates how glycogen is used in the liver, and regulates the intake of fat into cells. Alpha islet cells secrete glucagon. Glucagon regulates the metabolism of sugar and glycogen in liver and increases the blood sugar. Insulin and glucagon counter each other. Insulin lowers the blood sugar, glucagon raises it. Delta islet cells secrete somatostatin. Somatostatin blocks the release of insulin and glucagon from the pancreas. Insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin are hormones. Hormones are macromolecules. This is an insulin molecule. There are 3 types of functional groups in this molecule: hydroxyl group, carbonyl group, and amino group. This will be the same for the other 2 molecules as well. This is a glucagon molecule. Notice the same 3 functional groups. This is a somatostatin molecule, also the same 3 functional groups. When you eat food, it goes into your gut, and the glucose and amino acids get absorbed into your blood. The receptors in the beta islet cells notice that the glucose has gone up and secrete insulin to maintain a constant blood sugar level. From there, it goes into the liver and for various functions throughout the body. Islet cells show regulation because the blood sugar level is monitored and insulin or glucagon is secreted to lower or raise the blood sugar level depending on whether it is low or high. The islet cells help regulate the blood sugar. Islet cells show order because they are arranged in a very specific way. They live in clusters of cells. We will come back to that later. If the body does not have enough insulin, diabetes can happen. Type 1 is in children when their cells do not create enough insulin and diabetes occurs. Type 2 is in adults when there is something wrong with the secretion of the insulin and there is not enough insulin in the blood. If there is too much insulin, insulinoma can occur, which is a tumor of the islet cell when there is unregulated production of insulin and the cells store up more and more insulin and a tumor happens. The structure of an islet cell. So islet cells are in clusters in the pancreas. The alpha, beta, and delta cells all live in the same cluster. There are blood capillaries running through the cluster so the cells can move more easily, could spread more easily the hormones they created throughout the body. You can see here the clusters of the islet cell. There are alpha, beta, and delta in the same cluster. There are also capillaries running through the cluster to make it easier to distribute the hormones through the body. When glucose levels are high in the blood, glucose enters the beta islet cell and goes through glycolysis, which is the breaking down of the glucose. It then enters the mitochondria, where it goes through the TCA cycle, which is the process of transforming the glucose into ATP. The ATP is distributed throughout the cell. The ATP goes up to the hormone receptors, where it receives the message that the glucose level in the blood is too high. The ATP goes down to the potassium channel and turns it off, so no more potassium can enter the bloodstream. Then the turning off of the potassium channel triggers the calcium channel to turn on. Before the calcium is turned on, the insulin granules are waiting to be put into the blood. The calcium that comes into the cell through the turned on channel is the final thing necessary to push the insulin through the plasma membrane into the capillaries. Islet cells are not very numerous in the body, but perform vital functions. There are 3 types of islet cells and 3 hormones secreted. Alpha secretes glucagon, beta secretes insulin, and delta secretes somatostatin. Islet cells are key in metabolism regulation. Islet cell malfunction can cause diseases. Thank you for listening. Here are my references.